Hey everyone, welcome back to the Rulebook Room. I'm Har. Let me begin with a slightly uncomfortable question. One that law doesn't answer as neatly as we might like. When does a relationship without marriage start looking legally like one? And more importantly, who gets to decide that? Society? The parties? Or the court? Today's case is D. Velasamy versus D. Pichayammal, 2010. It is not just about maintenance, but it is about the boundaries of legal recognition, where law draws the line and where it refuses to. Let's start with the factual matrix. We have the appellant, Velusamy. He asserts a valid subsisting marriage with Lakshmi that was solemnized in 1980. He had documentary proofs like ration card, voter ID, school records of children, etc. We will have to pause here for a minute because, from an evidentiary standpoint, this is strong. We are not dealing with mere oral assertions. We have documentary corroboration. Now, the respondent, the claimant. Her case is alleged marriage with the appellant in the year 1986. Cohabitation occurred for 2 to 3 years and then desertion. Maintenance was claimed under Section 125 CRPC in 2001. Now, here's where a trained legal mind immediately flags issues: delay of 12 years, lack of documentary proof of marriage, no clarity on ceremonial validity. So, even before doctrine, the factual foundation itself is shaky. Now, let's examine what the lower courts did. They accepted her claim, which means they implicitly rejected the existence of the first marriage. But here lies the Supreme Court's first intervention, not on merits, but on procedure. The court says you cannot adjudicate marital status affecting a third party without hearing that third party. This is not just procedural nicety, this is violation of natural justice, specifically odi altrum partem. And importantly, the court tries the finding as void, not merely erroneous. This distinction matters because a void finding has no legal existence. It cannot be cured by reasoning. Now we can transition to the core legal issue. Can the claimant qualify as a wife under Section 125 CRPC? Let's unpack the provision first to understand the legal reasoning. Section 125 CRPC is summary in nature. It is secular in its application and it is designed to prevent vagrancy, but its scope is limited to the definition of the word wife under Explanation Clause B, which includes legally wedded wife or divorced wife. It does not include a woman in a void marriage. Now the court relies on Savita Ben Somabai Bhatia versus State of Gujarat, which takes a strict interpretative stance. Even if the woman is innocent, a void marriage confers no status. This is the classic textual interpretation. No purposive expansion, no judicial activism. Now, here's where the judgment becomes intellectually interesting. Because instead of stretching Section 125 of CRPC, the court shifts the analytical framework. It brings in protection of women from Domestic Violence Act 2005 and specifically Section 2 Clause F dealing with domestic relationship and Section 2 Clause A dealing with aggrieved person and most importantly relationship in the nature of marriage. Now, this phrase is undefined, which means the court must interpret it. And here we see a shift from strict textualism to structured purposive interpretation. The court essentially structures a legal test not from statute, but from comparative law, social context, judicial reasoning, and it is significant because this is judge made law within interpretive limits. Let's break down the test carefully. The court says a relationship must resemble a common law marriage, which requires first, holding out to society as spouses, second, legal capacity to marry, third, absence of existing marriage, fourth, voluntary cohabitation, and fifth, stability and continuity. Now, notice condition 3 is critical. If one party is already married, the relationship automatically fails. So, in Velusamy, if Lakshmi's marriage exists, claimant fails DV Act test as well. Now, let's critically engage. Is this fair? Because this creates a paradox. A woman deceived into a relationship may fail under Section 125 CRPC and fail under DV Act. And the court acknowledges this gap but refuses to fill it. Why? Separation of powers. The court explicitly states we cannot legislate under the guise of interpretation. Now comes the comparative law discussion. The court refers to American concept of parsimony originating from Marvin versus Marvin, 1976. In Marvin versus Marvin, the California Supreme Court held non-marital partners can enforce express or implied agreements. This is key, not status-based rights, but contract-based rights. The court essentially said if the parties behave in a way that implies economic partnership, law can recognize obligations. But it refused to enforce relationships based purely on sexual service. So, even in liberal jurisdictions, moral boundaries exist within legal recognition. Now, compare this with Indian law. India does not adopt contractual model of relationships. Instead, it uses status plus social legitimacy. So while the US asks, was there any agreement? India asks, was this relationship socially and structurally equivalent to marriage? This is a fundamental difference. Now back to Velusamy. The Supreme Court ultimately does not decide whether the claimant qualifies. Instead, it remands. Why? Because necessary factual findings are missing. Specifically, whether first marriage exists, nature of cohabitation, duration and stability, social recognition. Now, even from exam standpoint, this case is gold because it sits at the intersection of criminal law, section 125 CRPC, family law, where the validity of the marriage is questioned, social welfare law, DV Act, and comparative jurisprudence. But more importantly, it reflects a judicial philosophy. The court is progressive but cautious, aware but restrained, adaptive but not activist. Let's close this with the doctrinal takeaways. Section 125 CRPC remains strictly interpreted. No expansion beyond statutory definition. DV Act introduces flexibility but not unlimited protection. Relationship in the nature of marriage is a qualified category, not a blanket inclusion. Live-in relationships are recognized, but only when they mimic marriage in substance. Courts will not validate relationships lacking stability, dignity, and legal capacity. And finally, this case is not just about maintenance. It is about the limits of law in regulating intimacy. Because law can observe relationships, it can evaluate them, but it cannot fully define them. And that tension, that's where Velusamy lives. This is it for today's episode. Until next time, don't just understand the law, understand where it chooses to stop. Bye.